on, come on, come on. Yes. Okay. Nailed it. Alrighty. Good evening, everyone. My name is Benjamin, and right now I can't actually see stream chat, so that's going to be fun. I may actually have to pull it up on my phone just so I can see what the stream chat is. Yeah, so we're gonna be doing a little bit of streaming of Hearts of Iron 4, and we're gonna be playing Kaiserreich, and I'm gonna be talking about their alternate history. And we'll go ahead and I'll hit a new game, and there's gonna be a very specific goal that I am going to be doing in this game. And let's go ahead and pour myself a drink. Not too much. There we go. I actually meant to do that before I started the stream. But anyway, what the hell? Okay. Anyway, let's put that there. That's fine. So before we get 100% going, obviously, so Hearts of Iron 4 is a historically set game for those of you who don't want it, created by the company Paradox, and it's kind of like Risk, but it has a very specific setting. Now this is a mod for it called Kaiserreich, which is an alternate history in the event that Germany had won the First World War. And before I actually get into it, by the way, I already know what nation we're going to play as, or what nation I am going to play as. I'm not. I think the team that actually created this mod, and I'm turning on my phone so I can actually see comments. So give me just a sec. Give me just a second. There we go. And my channel. And there we go. There we go. Yeah, awesome. And I can actually see y'all in chat. My phone is right here. And I don't know how long I'll be streaming this tonight, but I do intend to actually have some level of streaming. Or some time, because, yeah. They did a decent job with the historical aspect and setting, and they did a lot of research. I think there are a few minor nitpicks that I have in some areas, simply because, by training I actually am a historian. That's what I got my degree in, minor in econ, all that nonsense. And I'm not playing as Austria. There's a very specific nation that I'm playing as, America Central. And well, I guess I'll go ahead and show you what nation we're playing as. We are playing as Poland. And so there's a lot of reasons why I'm going to be playing as Poland, but the biggest one is I actually like Poland as a nation for a lot of reasons. But anyway, so what I'm going to be doing is kind of discussing the alternate history of this world, and we'll go ahead and do this. So here's the team that created the mod. So all credit to, goes to them in regards to the research and all that stuff. And, of course, this is a beta version. And I will, of course, check out all the stuff. And, of course, the world is paused. So we're going to go ahead and get our research done. I always forget to do this if I don't. We need our industry, and I want production, and we want faster research time, so we're going to go with this. Okay, so that's set there. We really do need to boost those, and I guess it legitimately doesn't actually matter, but we will need military production, and we're unfortunately going to be very infantry focused, and cavalry focused, because of course we are no divisions in basic training. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a choice. Probably just going to do like 4 divisions twice. And we'll put you... Oh, sorry about that. Let me quickly do something. I want my endonyms, because we're going to put these in Warszawa. And I guess we can train, like... Yeah. 2. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll put you in... Białystok. And if there are Poles in chat, well, I'm sorry if I mispronounce anything. Also, I'm going to need to really boost production. Yes, I know I have low manpower. We'll go to the trade, and I guess we'll trade with them for whatever we need. And then for steel, really, the Germans won't, or the Americans won't trade with us? No, that's because they... Okay, I don't understand it. Okay, for right now, that's good. And we have 8... Oh, whoops. Scheiße. We have 12 divisions. And it seems all but 1 is infantry. So I'm going to put my infantry in 1 army. And who should we pick? I'd be tempted to do... Władysław Anders, but unfortunately he's a tank commander. We'll go with him because he has Stanisław Magnuszewski. I guess that's his name. And then our cavalry, I don't even think we actually have someone who specializes in cavalry, which is kind of sad. Piłsudski, Edward Śmigły, Tadeusz Rozhowski. No. Plus, they're all field marshals, though we're going to lose one of those. So, because I like this person's actual story, we're going to, even though just because I like this guy's story in real life, we're going to... no, Poland is not a German puppet. By the way, Nippon Sharma, I'm not going to be doing any modern politics discussion just because we're playing stuff. But yeah, because I like this guy's story, we're going to go with Witold Pilecki. Seriously, guy is just a legend. And I'm not actually going to set anything up for our military. So we're going to go ahead and pause this before we get into the discussion. Oh, yeah. Also, I should probably... Okay, it automatically selected the National Focus Force, which, okay, that's fine. Good, it paused. So, until the end of the Weltkrieg, which is just German for World War, there was no Poland. What had been Polish territory has been carved up between Austria, Russia, Prussia at the end of the 18th century. If you want to know more about that, check out my video on Tadeusz Kościuszko. Yes, I've done that. And in the face of scattered uprisings throughout the 19th, those 3 nations continued to hold on to their Polish territory. Polish fortune turned in 1916, though, with the Act of November 5th, where it was granted autonomy from the collapsing Russian Empire. However, this triumph came with a bitter taste, as the election of the Polish king was postponed again and again between 1921, at the end of the Weltkrieg in this alternate universe, and 1936, now, as Austria-Hungary and Germany squabbled over the nationality of a possible king and the exact status of the Polish kingdom. Hence the regency of Janusz Radziwiłł continues. However, all hope of Polish kingdom is not over. The Ausgleich of 1937 is eagerly looked forward to in Warsaw, as a time when the future of Poland is decided. However, certain forces in Warsaw are tired of being under Austro-German yoke and look forward towards their enslaved brothers in Germany, Austria, and eastern states, hoping to one day create a kingdom for all Poles. Basically, this is fairly interesting. Actually, Poland at the start of this, let me pull up the factions map. Poland is actually not part of the Reichspakt. And I'm going to hit F1. Now, they got some, like I said, the mod team who created this got a lot of, and I'm just going to go ahead and get this game going. So, Jeszcze Polska nie zginęła. Basically, that's the first line of the Polish national anthem, which means Poland has not perished. So, the idea that they decided that the mod team that created the Kaiserreich team decided to do was that in order for Germany to win, they figured that the United States had to not be involved in the war. And the idea was that without the United States, in my opinion, I think they overvalued the U.S. Influence on the end of the war. And I think they overestimated the effect that not implementing unrestricted submarine warfare would have on their ability to save up for an offensive in 1919 for a number of factors. Towards the end of the Great War, for example, the French and the British were, literally shitting out tanks, and the Germans had 20 at best. Apparently, why are Germany? Oh, yeah, that's because Germany has military access, though we are not part of the Reichspakt and we are not a puppet. Also, I should probably speed this up a little bit. Actually, no, while I'm kind of going over the alternate history, I'm going to keep it slow, and then I'll speed up. The problem was that trench warfare would not be broken without armor. And that's why the Allies were so successful in 1918, was because at the end of the day, they had a lot more armor than the Germans did. Like I said, German armor was effectively non-existent. During the entire Great War, the Germans produced, I think, 90 tanks total, 90 or 95 tanks. And in my opinion, that's just, no. No, that's not going to break through in the trenches, no matter what your situation was. And for the Germans, it's also a little bit difficult. It's a little bit more difficult because their situation was that they had low fuel anyway, so they would have negligible ability to challenge for air superiority, which means they would have very little reconnaissance. They would have very little ability to bomb targets with airships. By the way, bombers weren't really a thing in the First World War. And they were also facing manpower shortages, mutinies, strikes, the whole lot that every nation was putting up with. But in Germany, it was particularly effective because the Germans could not break the British blockade in the North Sea. Meaning that while the French and the British were constantly being supplied by the Americans, yeah, not a good situation for the Germans. So the only realistic way for the Germans to actually win the First World War would have been in 1914. I can understand arguments for 1915, but after 1916 a German victory is just, it's impossible. 1914, the best chance they had would have been to take Paris, because France gives up anytime Paris is taken because they don't want it destroyed or occupied or anything. So they'll give up a lot just to keep Paris, French. I know I'm making fun of French military prowess, but the truth is France is actually very successful militarily speaking. Um, Assassination of President Kerensky. That's Russian, so I can ignore that. Sort of ignore that. But if the Germans had managed to actually take Paris, instead of the German generals pausing their offensive in order to secure in order to secure their own position on the Western Front, I actually think they would have had a better chance of winning then, and then they would have been able to send their force to the to the east, and taken the Russian Empire. And they probably also would have been able to get the Austrians a little bit more support. Italy probably wouldn't have joined the war. The Ottomans maybe would have joined. I don't know, actually. And I'm not sure there was... Then again, Mustafa was pretty intent on joining on the side of the Central Powers. So I'll say the Ottomans join. I'm going to basically say that, the Russians probably wouldn't have been able to win, but with a very short war, we wouldn't have seen the rise of communism in Russia. We wouldn't have seen a massively punitive treaty, nor would we have seen a slate of bitter states. That said, Germany would have just taken more of Poland, probably Warsaw, Kielce, and a few other places. Also, it really annoys me that Krakow is not part of Poland. That's the City of Kings. Come on! And, of course, Lvov. Also, I think they horribly misunderstood the political stability of the United States, because they do actually mention that one of the major events in U.S. history is the Battle of Blair Mountain, which takes place in this area of West Virginia. Actually, it's closer to this area. But they assume that the defeat there would have led to massed protest and union mobilization and greater union force, whereas in the real world, what happened was it killed unions until the end of the Second World War. Well, okay, not necessarily the end of the Second World War, but basically until FDR took over. So, no. The other thing they get wrong is who would have been president. Harding would have been president in 1920. But the other thing is they assume that a Democrat is going to win in the 20s, which is not going to happen. The Republican Party in the early part of the 20th century was the majority of the population. They basically had an electoral lock of the industrial Midwest, New England, New York, and the Mid-Atlantic, as well as basically everything west of the Mississippi except for Texas. So I find it hard to believe that a Democrat would actually win in the 1920s. So we still have President Harding, we still have President Coolidge, we still have the Roaring '20s. By the way, the U.S. economy was more than likely going to become the world's largest economy at some point in the 1920s. If the Great War lasted a very short amount of time, or it would have happened in our timeline. It happened during the Great War, because the U.S. was able to just war profiteer, basically. So U.S. economy still becomes number one. I think with a greater free hand in choosing his successor, Coolidge would have probably pushed for his successor to be Andrew Mellon, his Treasury Secretary, rather than Herbert Hoover, who Coolidge actually didn't like. So, in my opinion, I think in this universe, the great debate continues. Unfortunate. In this universe, I think Hoover wouldn't be president. I would have had it be Andrew Mellon. And I don't think without a market crash, because they've delayed the large economic depression and crisis to 1936 with Black Monday. I think that without the Second World War, things may have been a slight bit more stable, especially without the Spanish flu becoming a major pandemic. Though you could argue it maybe still would have been severe. It maybe would have led to a more stable 1920s, leading to a less in crisis 1930s. So perhaps we could push the market crash to then. But, and that's similar. France, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that, maybe communism in the form of syndicalism, which, if you want to look at a good real-world example of what happens when syndicalism is implemented, look at post-World War II Yugoslavia. It did not end well at all. Ooh, it did not end well. Then again, syndicalists are going to say, but that wasn't real syndicalism. And I'm being somewhat sarcastic there. Great Britain wouldn't collapse into a communist nation, but I understand why they made the decisions they did for an unstable United States, communist France, communist Britain, etc., etc. I understand why they made those decisions. They wanted, as well as the decision to have Germany win a war of attrition that they couldn't in real life. It's the same reason they lost the Second World War. Truth is that at the end of the day, they were designing for a game. And they wanted balanced gameplay, and they wanted interesting gameplay, no matter what nation you picked. So, I understand why they made the decisions. I'm just explaining that I think some of the history they did was more for gameplay than it was for the sake of 100% accurate history. And also, I do like that how, unlike in the regular game, they split this little bit off. I wish they had cut the line here rather than here. This little bit off from this province, because now we won't have a border war Serbia. Speaking of, where is... It's not Budapest, it's... Actually, that might be Beograd. I think Serbia extends over to here. I'm trying to remember what the actual capital of Serbia is now, and I can't. Belgrade. That's what I was thinking of. And I think that's actually, yeah, Beograd. Yeah, okay. But the Austro-Hungarian Empire, their military plan was actually to stop in Belgrade. So now we're actually going to go ahead and speed this up, and that's about as fast as I'm willing to speed up just for comfort's sake. And let me look at what my production looks like. Military equipment, really? What do my templates look like? Do you have artillery? You do have artillery. Okay, that would be why. Everybody has artillery. No, you have a support company, an engineer company. Ooh, we do have the ability, but it's probably based off of the Renault FT. Whoopsies. Totalist charter. Blah, blah, blah. The people must reject this madness. Yeah, it's another leftist faction. Yeah, we're producing the Renault FT. I knew it was going to be the Renault FT. Then we can go to actually the TKS and then the 7TP. Okay, George V died. Edward the VIII is crowned. Hopefully he lives like Henry VIII. But the TKS is a very light tank. Literally a one-person tank. And then we can go to the 7TP, which is actually much better than the first generation Panzers that the Germans had. Because, of course, it was. The problem with the Polish military in real-life World War II was that they had a metric crap ton of TKS tankettes, whereas they had at most 50 TP7s, which is basically Polish tank 7-ton. But the TP7 was actually really good for what it was. We can look at the Lightning. Of course, this is a Polish Mauser, and then an updated version of the Polish Mauser. We can go for that later. Then you have the... I actually don't know what the word that is abbreviated. Afghanistan has declared war on the Dominion of India. That's fun. And then this word I know means rifle model 43 for 1943. Okay, cool. And Bliskowitza is lightning, if I remember correctly. Oh, Black Monday. On the 3rd of February, 1936, the Berlin Stock Exchange stopped sinking. It plunged. Fueled by instability of market panic, selling erupted as soon as the stock market opened on Monday morning. It took well into the night for the teleprinters to stop spurting out the results of what became known as Black Monday. When the results had been analyzed, it was clear the situation had only gotten worse. The shock and unprecedented economic catastrophe will no doubt be felt all over the entire world. The German Golden Age has ended, for now, at least. Mein Gott, meaning my God. Black Monday hits Poland, blah, 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 blah. Let's hope our economy survives. So I'm actually going to go into the focus tree. Yeah, I know, Edward VIII abdicates, not like Henry VIII. Shame. Yeah, so I'm actually going to hit pause so I can explain the tree. So we can go with a von Habsburg, meaning an Austrian, and we can actually go with lessons of the Empire, membership in the Vienna Council, get Galicia back, which means we get Krakow, and then rebuild Krakow, and then we can align with the Austrian sphere. We have the option of going with a true Polish king, which basically excludes us from everything but these trees. Meaning we can write a new constitution with a clear line of succession, and we'll get the people's king. Then we can go absolute monarchy, undercut the Szlachta, and then we could abolish the Sejm, which, even if I'm forced into this option, I will never get rid. You know, I'm a libertarian, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, if I were forced into this option, I would go reform the monarchy, citizens' rights, and a new Sejm. We can go with a Lithuanian king, which actually allows us to reform the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and I admit this is kind of going to be my goal, which will give us the tree that allows us to expand minority rights, do the Vilnius Accord, and protect Lithuania, and we'll also have the option to do this as well. Or we could go with the Saxon king, and we could join the Reichspakt and rebuild the European, or join the European Economic Bloc. we could do joint economic and all this other stuff in the Kaiser Wilhelm study. And actually, believe it or not, this is our entire tree, because each of these is going to give us a new tree. And there's a lot of reasons for this. In previous versions of the game, we had the option to eliminate a tremendous amount of... The economy fails, Germany's in heavy economic crisis, and our dependence on them economically means that our own economy will be crippled. Our farmers are making no money due to large decreases in the price of agricultural products, and factories are preparing to fire thousands of workers. It seems that this summer will be hard for the Polish people, both in the cities and in the countryside. We need to take countermeasures before the unrest begins. I could declare the end of the Republic, and this would give us our own economic tree. And if I was playing real life, like if I was in real life and I was in charge of this, I would actually choose that, because a republic is going to be better. A republic will be better. However, because I'm trying to reform the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, we're going to do that. And yeah, I know. I'm a horrible person. The Austrian Empire withdraws from Italy, blah, 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 blah. Austrian influence wanes further. And actually, the truth is, we'll probably... By the way, when we get a Lithuanian king, we will wind up joining the Reichspakt. That will allow us to go into Galicia and Lodomeria, and then maybe into Hungary, though the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth never actually extended into Hungary. But because we'll seize their assets, okay. But because Hungary is a puppet of Austria, as well as Galicia, by the way, so is Bohemia, because they're a puppet of the Austrians, when we say we want Galicia back, we'll get into a war with the Austrians, and basically all of us will combine, and we'll kick out, these nations are so fractured, it's not even worth it. Basically, it's the old Austro-Hungarian Empire. Lithuania... okay, that's China stuff, and I'm not really going to be focusing on that. Oh, yeah, exactly. Here's China. It's a giant mess, and that's all we're going to say about that. There's the Kingdom of Finland, there is Norway, there's Sweden, German order in Asia may still hold, but Lithuania... Okay, that's fine. But the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth actually technically controlled what's known as Königsberg, because Prussia originally was a Polish puppet. And the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth basically controlled this general area. Where is Stanisławov anyway? Yeah, here's Stanisławov. Okay, so here's our first actual choice when it comes to a king of Poland. And the most recent debate to enthrall the members of the Regency Council is to do whether or not the future king of Poland needs to be at least as tall as the last king of Poland, so as to be more imposing in stature. True progress seems as far off as ever. So, if I go with height is everything, I actually lock myself out of picking a Lithuanian king. So I have to do height is meaningless, because this is the only one that preserves all options. Yeah, I'm well aware of that. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Said we don't really have that much of a shortage of everything else. God, I'm gonna need to update those. I'm not even gonna ask about that because we don't have a border with the sea. So the reason why I picked that option for height is meaningless is, again, I want to go with the Lithuanian king, who, by the way, is here, and he's going to be named Mendog when he takes over, or when he assumes the throne. Nanjing. Okay, fine, whatever. Australasia has democracy. Okay, that's cool. Oh yeah, by the way, here's some fun nations. This is kind of, well, Alashorda is a mix of Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Kyrgyzstan. Though here's Turkmenistan, slightly different. Maneuvers in the Carpathians. Oh yeah, there's a demilitarized zone, and the Romanians couldn't be in the Carpathians. But apparently they've broken that. Persia is a thing. Oh no, the Pope has died. You have various weird states in the Middle East. The Ottoman Empire is still a thing. The Sultanate of Egypt is crazy. The French Republic actually is basically, it's just West African colonies. Here's Mittel Africa, which is the Germans. The Portuguese are there. Germans are here as well. South Africa is apparently a thing as well. Ethiopia is here. Come on, I want to move. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't even know this was a nation. Transamur. Mongolia is a bit thick, and that's with 2 C's. Oh, the First International Congress. Okay, this is basically socialist stuff. So yeah, bombing in Warsaw. That's good to know. I don't like that. Police. But it is widely assumed that the Polish Underground Anarchist Party is responsible for the attack on the bourgeoisie, as they would call it. A horrendous day. Yeah. Thanks, anarchists. We love you. Speaking of anarchists in the real world, hey, the one Hawks fan, as in the Atlanta Hawks, based. Okay, we've got some research done. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to want to increase construction speed. But yeah, so what was I going to say? Speaking of anarchists, what is it, Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in Seattle? Apparently that's a thing, and they've already erected a border wall. Can we get another slow clap for for them basically being massive hypocrites? Yeah, they're also trying to act like they're an independent nation. So you know what I would say is, if I was president, I'd say, okay, well, you're not allowed to vote in federal elections. Ooh, Stephen X elected as Pope. Amazing. A short time later, it announced that the charitable and withdrawn. Okay. Pope Stephen X, leader of the Catholic Church and head of the state of the Papal States. Many speculate that it will not be long before His Holiness surrenders the Church's control over the government to a secular institution. Good luck, Your Holiness. Seriously, is a deeply, both in real, both as a Catholic myself and, of course, Poland, which I'm playing as, Polska, being a very Catholic nation, Yeah, that's... Yes. Yes. Though they are a puppet state of the two Sicilies, because of course they are. Also, are there seriously Yeah, there are Germans, but that's because they have military access. Even though we are not part of the Reichspakt states, I try to say München rather than Munich. There's Saarbrücken. That's how I do say Vienna instead of Wien. I do say Budapest, which, if I remember correctly, is the correct thing. Desk dilemmas. As tension mounts in the halls of Europe, the Regency Council has been hotly debating whether or not they should increase the size of the desks in the council chambers. Many are for it, while many are against, of course, and factions have divided members of the council around their perceived votes. The debates have been printed on front-page Polish newspapers, sparking outrage among citizens. Now, personally, my opinion is, who the men are on the throne? So, regardless, I'm going to be doing that, so... Come on. There we go. There we go. There we go. Oh, and if anybody is wondering what I'm drinking, March on Mielsinca, Mielenitsa. Again, if you are a Pole, I apologize for messing up pronunciation. Local national leader. Okay, whatever. Send in the army and yeah, arrest everyone involved with the push. And also, likes, comments, subscriptions really do help. I sincerely appreciate them always, and particularly on streams. Hopefully, I can figure out how to actually... I've done this mainly because hopefully I can spark some growth for my channel, as well as eventually... TUC. Okay, that's Britain. Interesting. Who cares? You're a bunch of socialists. I don't care. Because hopefully I can maybe use this to help supplement any income I have, because that would be fun. I never really considered it up until this point, simply because why would I? I'm a tiny channel, but then I crossed 400 subscribers, and I'm like, I can snowball this if I'm smart about it. And I'm going to try and do that. So, yeah, pretty based. But anyway, if anybody is wondering what I'm drinking, in addition to a glass of water that I have, I am drinking Glenmorangie 14 that's been finished in port wine barrels, because of course I am. Ooh, basic machine tools are finished. And our support weapons, which are based. Okay, so we're going to... I think we're going to go with concentrated industry, and I should probably upgrade to the TKS. What is this? Alright. Also, the goal of this playthrough is literally just to restore the original borders of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Maybe take Moskva. Simply because why not? Also, Prague, I love how this is the Kingdom of Bohemia. Even though we call it Czechia these days, or for most people in America, the Czech Republic. But yeah, so... Also, we're definitely going to need it. Also, Poland does have a historical claim over this part of Latvia. Poland has claims of, technically has claims all over all of, it's called Ruthenia in this universe, but we would know it as Belarus or Belarus, depending on where you're from. I say Belarus or Belarusia. And over large parts of the Ukraine, including the Ukrainian capital of Kiev. Also, Poland has claims over Gdańsk. Anybody who says Danzig in chat is going to get an instant ban. I'm slightly kidding about that. Slightly. As well as most of the southern half of Königsberg. They also changed the borders of Königsberg. It's kind of interesting. I do like how the modders, the people who actually designed the mod, Kaiserreich, edited the state borders, because some of them were really bad. I mean, this one is god awful, and it still is awful, but at least you can assign both of these to Serbia, and it'll look cleaner and closer. Also, I love how Corsica is owned by the French Republic. Marseille, there's Lyon, Bordeaux, Paris, Orléans. Can this get any worse? Yeah, I know. Also, that's unrest in the countryside, which, okay, fair enough. We're still a long way off from seeing the insanity that will be the United States of America. Interestingly, Mexico is the only nation that the United States does not guarantee. Maybe not. The legation states, Dominican Republic, Haiti. United States still exercises the Monroe Doctrine. Except I don't think it extends into South America, it looks like. Yeah, it doesn't extend into South America like it does in real life. But that may be a whole different thing altogether. Also, Paraguay is extra thick. Having this little state, Chaco Boliviano, and I imagine that Bolivia is still pretty salty about losing its coastline. Peru is probably salty about not having this, and Venezuela is probably pretty salty about not having all of this. Also, it's really weird to see. Wait, are the Falklands in Argentina? Oh my god. Puerto Argentino. Argentino. I guess we have to call them the Malvinas now. Oh man. I think the council regains focus. Finally. Also, I love our political power is absolutely dead. Oh man. Why is also America Central? I do see your comment. Why is China such a mess? It's because China, and I'm not kidding. That is literally the reason. That is literally the reason. Also, I'm gonna need to probably appoint a mod at some point if these streams become fairly successful, because I should probably do that. Oh, also, I have literally no need for operations or garrisons, and I have no requests for upgrades, so we're going to go and do that. And that should hopefully improve our logistics situation, though we're still pretty far behind. This is going to last for freaking ever. Yeah, almost 1,000 days. That's like 3 years. Okay, fine. China does China things. Also, like I said, I have to look at my phone to see chat, so please forgive me if I'm a little bit behind on that. And I mean, I have no political power, so this is kind of just waiting. Coup d'etat in Siam. That's fantastic. But yeah, so the truth is, going back to Unione Sindacalista achieves Italian majority. Okay, no surprise there. So, realistically, I don't think that this universe, as the Kaiserreich team designed it, is something that actually could have happened. So I should probably assign these. And I'll assign them to... Well, if we assign them to cavalry, they'll be more effective. But if we assign them to infantry... I'll go ahead and do that. Oh boy. Argentina is a thing. Wait, did they unify? No. Oh yeah, Patagonia is a thing. Yeah, so I don't think that the universe's the Kaiserreich team. Okay, now I face 2 crises, a weak economy and a crisis of authority caused by the former. Policies of the army are having serious problems keeping the country together. We need to seriously rethink our policies. The Regency Council must elect a king now. The government collapses, or invite the military to form a new government. This allows us to do a lot of things. I'm going to go for the king because, again, I want to do Poland-Lithuania because Poland-Lithuania is based. Actually, Poland-Lithuania, I'm working on doing some research to form, to discuss the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Because, again, I like history and I like telling the stories behind the events. Because I think Poland-Lithuania as a nation was actually a really good idea. It was a great idea. And it was a very successful nation for a very long time and kind of formed a proto-republican state as early as the 1400s. And in many ways influenced a lot of Republican thinking. Because James Madison, while he doesn't mention it explicitly in his notes, he gathered as much thought and theory and history on Republican forms of government as he could when he was writing the United States Constitution. And that no doubt had to include Poland-Lithuania. Okay, I think that is China stuff. Yeah, that's China stuff. Anyway, so Madison obviously not only studied the Roman republics, Athens, and a lot of Greek democracy, but he absolutely had to have studied Poland-Lithuania because they were the closest thing to a republic as possible. Just after the Weltkrieg, the Regency Council made an attempt to elect a king of Poland. This attempt, however, was stalled by the Polish inability to firmly support a single candidate and by the Central Power's apparent lack of interest. Now, with the 20th anniversary of the Kingdom of Poland's proclamation approaching, the Regency Council wants to make one last attempt. Let us try again. And the reality is that a lot of lessons could be inferred from the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. The fact that every noble basically had a say in the Sejm, and especially the election of monarchs, meant and that a monarch required universal approval, meant that you could bribe one or two or three nobles who were slightly impoverished in order to... Okay, here's a good question. I'll read this in just a second, but you could effectively control the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth through bribing of nobles if you were an outside power, and that meant that, especially in the later years of the Commonwealth, Poland was basically controlled by either Russia, Prussia, or Austria, which of course led to partitions. But it also meant that the Polish king was uniquely weak compared to other monarchs in Europe. Lithuanians have declared a renewed interest in recreating the Commonwealth. While in the past the Commonwealth was a major power in Europe, it eventually was destroyed by Russia, Austria, and Prussia. Because of this, some people have said that we should forget the Commonwealth and instead start the election for a king. What should our response be to the Lithuanians? Agree to the proposal. And we still have the great debate, but it is almost over. 2 more days. There we go. Ready. There you go. Here we go. For over 20 years, Poland has not had a king. However, another election by the Regency Council may finally change that. We have made an agreement with Lithuania to elect their king, Mendog III. However, the other powers of the world might take offense at such a move. Okay. Friedrich Christian von Wetten will lead us to glory. Austria is our friend. Karl Obrecht von Habsburg. Mendog III will restore the Commonwealth. We need a Polish king. Long live Augustin I Czartoryski. Czartoryski. We're going with Mendog III. And we have a new national focus. Oop. And Scheisse. Wallonia has... Whoa, shit. Poland elects a new king. For almost 2 decades after the Polish thrones remained empty, after the end of the Weltkrieg, a regency council was convened to elect the new Polish king. However, constant interference and ineptitude has prevented the council from selecting a king for all these years. But now, after many weeks of intense debate inside the chambers of the Polish Regency Council, the decision was finally made to elect a new monarch to the long vacant Polish throne. The coronation of Mendog III was held in the palace at Warszawa early in the morning. It has been followed by parades and celebration throughout the nation. It remains to be seen whether a new king can navigate the small Polish nation through the coming storms. The regency is finally over. Jeszcze Polska nie zginęła. The balance of power has finally begun to shift, straining that delicate post-Weltkrieg order journey has long struggled to build. The brokering of this alliance may have consequences. Wallonia has joined the Reichspakt. Mendog's decision. The third has been elected the new king of Poland. Now he has to make a decision that is on his and everyone's mind if Poland and Lithuania should recreate the Commonwealth or not. Long live the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, baby! Hit pause real quick. Okay, Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth has joined the Reichspakt. Balance of power has begun to shift. Straining. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, we need to So I have the ability to select a focus. No, I don't. Okay. Okay, so I need to select. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay. The Commonwealth comes together. With the decree of Mendog III that the kingdoms of both Poland and Lithuania shall be united as one nation, the peoples of both states have found themselves with an uncertain future. The two nations have not been together in a union for over a century. The Commonwealth's new government is in its infancy. Lithuanians are already voicing concerns that the more plentiful Polish will seize effective control of the nation, and many Poles feel that the Lithuanian king will treat them as second-class citizens in favor of his own people. Tensions have been increasing across the nation, and both populist and syndicalist movements feed off the distrust pervading the kingdom. It remains to be seen whether this new nation can hold itself together in the face of coming storms. We will stand united. At Polish-Lithuanian communists. The elections for the vacant throne of Poland a state thought to have been forgotten in history despite pressure from Austria and Germany. King Mindaugas von Urach of Lithuania has been selected the new king of Poland, and a new constitution was drafted to unite Poland and Lithuania back to the Commonwealth. It is not known if this new entity will be very stable, but the Poles seem enthusiastic. That's unexpected. Okay, so we're going to add you to our infantry army. Just remove that. We do have a new... Let the people vote for a prime minister. This is actually a legit thing that we can do, and plus it does actually make sense with a constitutional... Okay, now we've been chosen to align with the German Empire, and an opportunity has arisen to join their economic pact, Central European Economic Union, shortened to Middle Europa. Though this pact is dominated by Germany and its interests and forces several obligations on its member states, it also provides several benefits: easier trade with Germany, mutual defense in particular. You know what? We're going to go ahead and do that. As much as I don't like it, we have to... Whoa, scheisse. Yeah, fine, we'll accept it. Though we won't send troops. Okay, so... we're going to get a lot of events. I could start this. What else do we have the option of? So far, it looks like nothing. So I think we should probably just start this, because at the end of the day, it's probably the smart thing to do. Also, I need to get trade going. We're missing... Is that aluminum? Yeah, it's aluminum. Okay. We'll stick with Germany for now. That was actually really fast. Okay. Siamese Civil War. I don't really want Warszawa as a capital as much as I really like that. We could go with Vilnius as a capital. We should probably choose a new capital, though. Oh, scheisse. Not what I meant to do. You know what? We're going to send in our infantry. I mean, this is basically going to be over pretty quickly. But, oh, scheisse. Or I guess since we're playing as Poland, I should say Kurwa. That's probably the right thing to do. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I guess I'll just... we'll send you forward. The first Sejm election. Excited voters from across the Commonwealth have gathered in the cities on the historical day to cast votes in the first combined Polish-Lithuanian elections in the new Commonwealth. The King's decree that the people would be allowed to vote has galvanized political movements across the nation, and many different political movements seem capable of sweeping ballots. Even worryingly, some populist and syndicalist movements whose victory could spell the disaster for the fledgling Commonwealth. Which party will come out on top? Who do we want? We'll go with the Patriotic Party. We are getting our troops to the front pretty quick. Fine. We'll take some of it because it is a good idea. I don't really need that. What is the decision we have? We really don't need to do that, and I don't want to waste political power. Yes, we're about to have troops go in. Yes! We're actually getting into war. Woo! Great news. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to get done. Okay, you can return to Poland. Yes, I'm aware we have low manpower. How are we short on frickin' aluminum? We're gonna go with I guess we'll go with the United States. Deal with it. Though that's probably a bad decision. I should probably cancel that. Shit. Yeah, we're gonna cancel that. I guess I was gonna say Norway makes sense, but it's probably a very poor decision. I'd go with Ukraine, but why? Denmark seems like an actually smart decision because they're probably going to remain neutral. That seems like a good idea. Okay. We probably need to look. Okay. We should integrate the two armies. We should absolutely go with a mobile army. Okay, I don't think we're going to focus on the Navy. I do not like how there's a lot of exclusive bits, but okay. Okay, so let's see. Principle of Golden Liberty seems like an intelligent idea, along with solve cultural tensions. Call the Second Great Sejm is definitely something I want to do. Okay, that's fine. We'll probably stick with Germany. Okay, a new capital. Now, the real question is, I'm going to let y'all in chat, I know there's only like 2 of you, but in chat, why is Germany at war with the Netherlands? I didn't actually see that. Okay, so we could go with Lublin, the original site of the Union, which would actually make sense. By the way, with the heart of the Commonwealth, we must with the rebirth of the Commonwealth, we must decide where our new capital should be. Historically, the Commonwealth was based in Warszawa, but Vilnius could also be used. However, the intense arguments between the Poles and Lithuanians have left many wondering if a compromise is not the best solution. The idea of a new capital has gained popular support recently, and the idea has taken hold. Which city will become the new capital? So like I said, we could go with Lublin, the historic site of the original Union, back when the Queen of Poland, though she was actually called King of Poland, married the Grand Duke of Lithuania back in the 12th or 13th century. We go with Siaulia here. No, sorry, up here in Lithuania. Or we could choose a halfway point of Białystok. And I think we're going to do that. Białystok. So we need to select a national focus. Nope, not what I wanted to do. We want to move down. I think we should probably stick with Germany. Actually, we should probably focus on building the new capital. There we go. And let's look at construction. Okay, so we need to build up here and here. We need to absolutely build up here. Oh boy. Yep, okay, that was going to happen. And we need to build dockyards. Let's look at what our military production is. How do we still only have 6 factories? That should be significantly more. Also, we're going to just not produce that. We have no dockyards. That is kind of sad, actually. But we do have 2 subs. Oh, that's kind of hilarious, actually, when you think about it. Now, the real question is, we're going to put you on the border with Galicia. And we're going to go ahead and give you a front line. I guess here for now. Because at some point, when I feel we are actually capable of it, we're going to try and reassert our claim on Galicia, because Lvov, Krakow, and Stanisławów are Polish cities. Yeah, I know, I need to remember to use my field marshals. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go with, God, how do I have so many field marshals? Also, I'm not going to go with Piłsudski, simply because at the end of the day, he dies very soon. We could go with that guy, Stasis Rastitkis. It's got it. Okay, cool. Jonas Czernius, Edward Smigwy, Finkas. Okay, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce these. We're going to go with Sikorsky. Sikorsky. Because I actually know who the hell he is. God, the horror of actually knowing who a historical figure is. We should really upgrade our air. Should I improve our fighters? Well, we're still in 36. So our close air support is terrible. So we're going to improve our fighter, I guess. Though, the next, when that's done, we'll look back at our industry. What's this one? Overwhelmed bureaucracy. Cultural tensions. Yeah, we're going to be focusing on that. Oh boy. Can I start justifying war goal? Yeah, exactly. We needed it. So. Social conservatives. Social security. That said, at some point, we're going to want Ruthenia and most of the Ukraine. Actually, we'll probably go for just all of it. Yeah. Simply because that seems like a good idea. First option. First option was it Lublin? Yeah, first option was Lublin. Again, I went with Białystok just because I think it's a smart decision. Also, Jesus Christ, it looks like they're preparing for war with France. Also, no Maginot Line. Oh, yes. Should I speed it up? Seriously, though, should I speed this up? Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. Whatever. We're still streaming, so I don't exactly care. Yeah, my computer decided to do some stupid nonsense. Also, 17 divisions based. That said, we are still short on a lot of things. What's our production look like? At least we're at the max. But we really need to be focusing on that. You know what? You can, I don't know, garrison Warsaw. Yeah. Good enough for me. Good enough for me. Also, geez, my viewers is kind of like going up and down and up and down and up and down. I love it. Oh, Netherlands is, I'm assuming, a German puppet. Also, I love all the forts. It's freaking hilarious. Yeah, they're a German puppet. And Maria Adelheid. She's an interesting historical figure in real life. Belgium. Technically, it's Flanders and Wallonia, but it's Belgium. Also, Ireland has all of Ireland. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Unfortunately, we can't produce anything. Oh, scheiße. 20th anniversary of Polish independence. This is celebration. Blah blah blah. The King of Poland was officially created with the signing of the Act on November 5th, which forged a new Polish state from. Here's 20 more years. Based. Building the new capital. And we will go ahead. We really need to work on trying to figure out how to fix the economy. What's the best way to do that? Hmm. Hmm. You know, we're going to go ahead and do this because that should allow us to do that. And again, I'm not sure how long I'm going to be streaming for tonight. I'll probably stop around midnight. But I absolutely... Also, I love how I got no army experience. It's brilliant. But yeah, so... Also, I have decisions available? You know, we should probably do that. Or legislate freedoms. Ooh, I like that one. I actually like this option. Plus, always legislate freedoms, but don't make it temporary. Make it based and complete. But seriously, we really need to get Latvian territory, Ruthenian territory, Ukrainian territory. By the way, I love how they just totally messed up Ukraine's borders by giving them Volyn, Policia, and Berestia. But yeah, we really are going to want Galicia. And we are going to want to eventually strike the Russians. Because, yeah. Now, that said, we could do a Galician purchase and Ukrainian reform, but I don't think that's as good of an option. Okay, so let's get Brest-Litovsk. Status of Galicia. Now, I mean, I could have gone down this route, but I think this is going to be the smartest option because the Reichspakt, while it may not be the best option, I think it's going to lead to the easiest and most intuitive gameplay. Oh yeah, more Reddit. Also, I should probably move over to here. It really sucks that these are mutually exclusive. I should probably move over to here. Though the oil is a very good idea. And there's so many focuses I'm going to have to make. This is really tough. Because there's a lot of decisions I'm going to have to make. That I'm not sure what the best choice is in any of those decisions. I'm really not sure. But yeah, so Red World. Yeah, so What is the Red World mod, Will Church? What is the Red World? Is that where Trotsky got his worldwide revolution or something like that? Also Bucharesti. Sophia. Yes! It's still Constantiniye. There's Ankara. Oh, based. Actually, that's a funny thing. Believe it or not, Istanbul was originally meant to only be the name of the new developments of Constantinople. What if the Soviets won the Cold War? Yeah, that wasn't ever going to happen. But then again, neither was Kaiserreich, so I really shouldn't judge a mod based off of whether or not it was real. I might play it at some point. Now that I think about it, but I'm going to be really critical about their alternate history, of course, because for as much as I criticized the Kaiserreich team, and again, I think they did a very good job to develop a good, balanced gameplay. The Kaiserreich, in a world where the Soviets won, is just it. As much as I criticized the Kaiserreich team for their way of having the Germans win, the Soviets were not winning the Cold War. Even as early as the 60s, they were dependent upon U.S. exports in order to feed their people. And even then, the meme, communism, no food. There is a small grain of truth to that. A grain of truth in which the Ukrainians would very much be into getting some food. But no, that's actually... But thank you for letting me know exactly what that mod was. Also, it's interesting that Estonia is part of that. And Finland is really weirdly thick, but also thin. Because Finland should have this little bit... But they should also have a little bit more of Karelia. But thank goodness that's still Petrograd. And if I remember... Where is Volgograd? This is the Volga. Is that the Volga? Yeah, that's the Volga. Because everybody just knows the city is Stalingrad. Okay, there's Kazan. I actually know where that is because my favorite chess player of all time was from Kazan. And yes, I play chess quite often, actually. Oh, there's Liberia. Yeah, I will give credit to the Kaiserreich team. They really put a lot of work in. Because each nation has their own tree that is absolutely insane. Like, they really, really went out of their way and did a lot of research on a lot of these other smaller nations, like in South America, in Africa, and the Middle East. They did a lot of research. So, as much as I'm critical about them for some of their European decisions, the amount of work they put in is 100%. It is extremely admirable, and it is very... it's honestly worth a play, and it's actually worth looking at, because they did a lot of things right, and the nitpicks that I have are merely from a historical standpoint and from an understanding of military history, having grown up in an army family, and also have read a lot of military history. I didn't realize I was paused for that long. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward touch. Oh, Huey Long was elected president. Let's see what a Southerner can do. Oh, this is going to end so well. The Republicans, where's the Democrats? Oh, this is going to end so poorly. Yeah, and see, this is the American tree. Huey Long elected president. Okay, what happened to FDR in this timeline? That's the real question. And again, a lot of Hearts of Iron 4 is waiting if you're not playing a major power. Or even in the mods, that's true. Like, if I really wanted to, I could play as Germany, I could play as Russia, I could play as France. I could play as the United States. Which would actually be extremely interesting. Come on, thank you. Go ahead and just patrol the Baltic. I literally just don't care. Just patrol the Baltic. There we go. So,